Hi, my name is Lindsay. At a young age, I was exposed to some pretty traumatic events. As a result, I was left feeling like there was something inherently wrong with me. I felt like I was worse than other people and viewed everyone around me as better than me, and often struggled with feeling inferior to others. To cope with the negative feelings, I made huge efforts to gain people's approval. I did the things that I thought would make people think well of me, all the while in my mind knowing it was just an act. I just wanted people to like me. My life was dictated by living for others. Right before I entered college, two people randomly approached me at a restaurant and asked me if I had a personal relationship with Jesus. I was pretty weirded out, and so I told them I was a Christian. They weren't buying it. They went on to tell me about Jesus in a way that I'd never heard before. They explained how people aren't perfect, that people sin or do things that just aren't what God wants for us, and that there's nothing that we could do to suddenly become perfect because by our very nature, we just don't desire what God desires. But I also learned that what God desires is so good, and it leaves people feeling whole. They made God sound like the most satisfying thing. They said that our sin gets in the way of being able to have a relationship with God. The only way to have a relationship with God would be to pay for our sins, and the only way to pay for sins would be to die. Things were sounding pretty bleak, but then they went on to tell me more. They explained how Jesus, God's Son, came to this earth and made a way for us to have a relationship with God. They said Jesus died on people's behalf so that we could have that relationship. Obviously, at this point, I yearned for that. I didn't want to have to do the exhausting task of trying to please people my whole life and trying to make people like me. They said all I had to do was accept what Jesus did by talking to God through prayer and acknowledging the significance of what he did. So, at midnight, in the lobby of this restaurant, I did just that, and that literally changed my life. I find myself caring less about what people think about me, and I know that my past doesn't define who I am. My life didn't suddenly get better, though. There's still a lot of negative things that have happened, and I still get hurt. However, because of my relationship with God, I have hope that one day these things will be restored. And even in my pain, I have peace, because I know that I am completely loved by God, even if not by anyone else, and that no matter how lonely this world gets, I have a friend in Jesus. Before, I felt unworthy. Now, I am redeemed. And Jesus is the reason for that 180 difference.